Good evening, gamers, and welcome to my BTO5 Yellow Purple Curse deck list overview. I just brought this list to locals, actually, and went 3-0. I only lost one game, but won the match in round 2. I kind of break down the games that I played. Round 1 was versus, it was like white-green tokens. I was playing a little bit of the blue stuff that set 5 gave to green, as well as, but primarily just like green tokens. That was a 2-0. The second round was purple-red pterosaur that I got 2-1, and the last game was yellow luster with the new white stuff that I also got 2-0. I don't know if I'd say this deck is crazy into meta, because the meta that is played at my card shop is not like the typical meta. Like, we don't have a lot of Hydra players. There was one guy playing the new Hydra, or a Hydra list that was running a lot of green to ramp 2 Hydra very quickly. There's not a lot of era being played. So for all I know, this list could be just total hogwash, but I think it played pretty damn well, and I'm going to try to sell you on why you should play Yellow Purple Curse. I think this list slaps. It gets you so much advantage. It gets you out of a lot of weird sticky positions, and I don't know if I'd say it's better than the Fabled Beast decks that I have played in the past, but this list is genuinely kind of crazy. So the main interactions in this list revolve around Immortals, specifically with Grim Gambler and how he costs like basically nothing for the deck. You're almost always going to have the purple and yellow reductions in play to make him free. The one thing that sucks about Gambler is that he does not give a yellow reduction on his own. He only gives purple, which sucks a little bit, but I think in lieu of that, he's insane. He is constantly a free body to just swing in. At worst case, you get to pop him and get value off of your nexuses, but at best, you get life too, because he's also blessed, which is awesome. You will also notice, compared to a lot of my other lists, he's the only blessed unit here. Everything else is just like a dude that gets value on destruction and can destroy stuff. We have a lot of like inherent removal in this list, which means we don't need to run that much magic. The only magic we're playing are 4 deadly balance, 2 double deadly, 4 ice shield. Ice shield because it's kind of required, and then balance and double deadly because I figure you need a little bit more removal. The reason why I argue this list does not need that much actual magic removal or magic based removal is Curse. We have Curse naturally in Shazsnake, which is a good 2-drop that synergizes with Gambler to come back. We have Curse and Dragonaga Assassin, which is almost always card draw, so it's almost always replacing itself and constantly putting pressure on the opponent. And more importantly, in Miser Glut Vault, the X-Rare for purple yellow in set 5. Glut Vault is absolutely crazy. Giving all of your yellow spirits Curse means you have an advantage that yellow has not had before, which is inherent battle advantage. The problem with yellow historically has been your guys need to get through, and the best way to get to the opponent is actually through. Glut Vault, making your opponent forced to make unfavorable trades because all of your yellow stuff is going to have Curse, is very good. This means stuff like the Grim Gambler is going to have Curse. This means stuff like the Chip and Demo Bones are going to have Curse. They're going to get through very easily. Glut Vault himself is a massive source of removal. In some boards, he can 2-for-1. This actually happened against the Yellow Luster list where he had Hippo and Hundun on board. I had a couple guys swung with Glut Vault. Glut Vault ripped all the cores off of the Hundun and then just killed Hippo. Glut Vault, I think, will commonly 2-for-1 people. Also, kind of sucks he doesn't have a yellow reduction, but honestly, doesn't care half the time. He's just really good. He helps establish and help create the annoying board positions that you don't want to be in against yellow and purple, which is kind of already a pain for some decks to handle. The other big advantage that Glut Vault giving your yellow spirits Curse means that our 2 of Madukes basically say your yellow spirits have Blood Curse, which is absolutely insane. It is a way for us to deal direct damage to our opponent without needing to commit to actual combat, and more so just, well, I mean, sorry, we do have to commit to combat with Blood Curse, but it just means that it hurts that much more for our opponent. The last, I guess, big thing I want to note is Tyrantosaurus. I kind of threw him in the deck as a theoretical tech choice. The ideal scenario that he comes in is 1. Because his trigger is during the attack step, this lets us trigger things like Rotting Swamp and Cathedral during that, which means we get more cards and more cores. He's also there because even though we have these Curse guys, I wanted another way to be able to push through damage. This actually came up in the last game versus the green, white, bluish token list, where he had a board full of tokens. He had just restood them with the green spell that's like during your end step, refresh your board basically. And Tyranto came down. I had just enough cores for 12. It was 7 to actually play him out, 5 just to slam him on board, and said, you literally cannot stop this because when he attacks and if you try to block, I'm just going to dome your life. You need exactly like Dream Bomb to get rid of him, because even if you block, you're still going to lose your last life. I like the ability Taranto gives because this also lets you trigger your destruction effects, lets you do a lot of stuff on your turn prior to actually being in combat, and you can do this all before Flash Step. Gives you a lot of utility. So I kind of given the broad strokes. The overall idea of this deck is you're generating a metric ton of advantage. You are destroying your 2-drops and looping Grim Gamblers to hit in for Blessed. Theoretically, your boards are looking like a bunch of 2-drops and maybe some Gamblers. You generally swing with the Gamblers first, get them to either get popped or get destroyed in some way. You force your opponent to make unfavorable trades to then attack with your 2-drops, which then will die, which then gets you value, which then brings back the Grim Gamblers for sometimes free, or because of Cathedral, you've gained enough cores to just get it out for free, or very cheap, honestly. And that's like the big interaction in this deck. You just keep having a bunch of dudes. I like this more than some of the hypothetical, like, giant immortal lists, because you still have some other avenues. Mostly because you're running the 2-drops here. We are running, what is this, 13 2-drops? No, not 13, I can't count, sorry. We're on 11 2. I still can't count. We are on a whopping 4, 8, 11, 14. We're on 15 2-drops, so we're almost always gonna have something that Grim Gambler can translate into being brought back from the graveyard, including Glut Vault being a 6. So anyway, with all of those kind of broad strokes out of the way, I'm going to dive into the list. So, our 2-drops. 2-star Domo Bones. The fact that he has 1 purple, 1 yellow reduction is extremely nice, especially also being or offering a reduction both those colors. This just gets him out for free. Very good card in this list. 1 Freestall. In my initial list, I was on 4. I still think some amount of Freestall is correct. I just don't know how many. I definitely feel like maybe a 2-2 split between Freestall and Lost Chip is better, but Lost Chip and Freestall specifically did not come up frequently enough in the game tonight for me to actually give a good decision or good opinion on how I think they would have done. Speaking of Lost Chip, very small guy. You're never really using him to deal with your opponent's board or like block. You are almost always just using him to attack and then use Cathedral and Rotting Swamp to gain advantage off him killing himself at the end of the combat. Otherwise, he's really just a 2-drop that you just get advantage off of and maybe pop for Grim Gambler. McCarney Penton. This is a bit of a weird one. My theory with Penton was you want to have something you can continually loop for advantage through Rotting Swamp and Cathedral. Penton happens to line up decently stat-wise as a 2-drop. Definitely takes a chunk of cores to actually get to the ability to return back to your hand, but basically being an infinite body seems like a good idea for the grind game, especially when you can just keep running it into things through Rotting Swamp, through Cathedral, get cores, get cards, and really just the fact that it's a 2-drop with, I think, a better effect that you'd actually want for this deck. And finally, the other 2-drop with a better effect, Shaz Snake. The Serpent type just happens to line up with a handful of cards in the deck, mostly Dragonaga, the 7-drop Tyranno, and Maduke. And also just being a curse guy just helps. He's gonna be a pain in order to block. He's gonna be able to proc your Grim Gamblers. I like Shaz Snake, and also just incidental card draw if you happen to have another Serpent on board. That's really just more gravy, but he's really just here as a 2-drop curse. Beldegor. Surprisingly, we still want Beldegor here because we're gonna be looping Grim Gamblers enough. Beldegor not only helps as a removal tool for lower cost spirits, but also just helps with the immortal loop. So you have enough cases where you can go Grim Gambler, crash him into something, bring back Beldegor, swing with Beldegor, maybe he gets through, maybe he doesn't, swing with the 2-drop, the 2-drop gets eaten, now you have Grim Gambler, and maybe you spend something off the Beldegor to get Beldegor back in the trash. You have a lot of ways to do these mini loops without necessarily needing to have the entire immortal loop going. Dragonaga Assassin. I like this card a lot. I was kind of iffy on it when I first threw it into the list, but it's a very good early aggro tool. It almost always trades for a, basically trades and replaces itself, worst case scenario. Otherwise, it removes a annoying threat opponents have. In the first game, I think, versus the purple-red Tyranno deck, a very common scenario that the yellow deck runs into is not having an answer for Dino Man, but with Dragonaga Assassin being cursed, you get to, I wouldn't say remove Dino Man for free, but almost for free. It replaces itself. It forces them to remove a symbol on their board, or they take the damage. And given that most of these Tyranno decks probably aren't going to be playing Seagorm Nova or have a way to get to Seagorm Nova, I think Dragonaga Assassin's definitely worth the include in this deck. I've said it enough. Grim Gambler, dude's insane. The 5 cost for level 2 for Blessed looks like a lot. It's really not, honestly. The fact that Gambler, like I said, frequently comes out for free means you will have cores, and because you're in Cathedral with yellow, you will be getting cores off of stuff just randomly, which means you just have plenty of cores left over to load onto Gambler, swing in for free Blessed hits. It's genuinely kind of insane. As we go to the next guy, I've already kind of posed the great parts about Miser Glut Vault. The fact that he just gives all the yellow guys curse in this deck is insane. He is frequently just removal. The fact that because he says all your yellow spirits gain curse, he gives himself curse too, which makes it even crazier. If your opponent wants to deal with him, they are almost always sacrificing something to clear it. Especially works in lower, I wouldn't say lower stakes, but lower to the ground board states so that are more spread out. Glut puts in a lot of work there. Kind of sucks that his power cap's out very small, but who cares? He has Curse. Brutal Dino Tyrannosaurus, kind of already mentioned him earlier. I feel he's a bit iffy in this list. He probably could go into the sideboard if all things are considered, but I do just like the utility of having a big guy to come down and pressure the opponent. Most times they won't have, unless they're like, you know, have a lot of cores already, they're not going to have something that tops out at 8k very frequently, or at least something you want to block with for 8k, which means they are taking the damage either way, and being able to restand and then swing again is always very nice. And then finally to Maduke. Maduke has always been pretty good for the curse decks. I also feel like she could probably go in the sideboard, maybe like swap in these spots with maybe some more removal, maybe have these Maduke and Taranto in for like the control matchups. But really the entire reason I made this deck in the first place was to capitalize on the Glutvault Maduke interaction. The problem I was running into during plays though is like Maduke just costs a lot to actually get out. The one time I did get her out, she was immediately taken out by Deadly Balance, which was kind of good. It forced my opponent to drop the new Zinnia or whatever it's called. It's the new red set 5 like cover card that has Astral and just like pop small guys, recovers spores. It forced him to remove it that way, and it worked out because I just didn't have enough guys in hand, or I was drawing enough guys at all to really get over the finish line there. But I like the interaction that Maduke gives to this deck and just the survivability it can provide. As for the Nexuses, very simple, 4 Blessed Cathedral and 4 Rotting Swamp. Rotting Swamp is a killer in this deck, so is Cathedral. You may be asking yourself why I'm not running Underworld Casino. I'm not a fan of Casino. I appreciate that Casino does give the both yellow and purple reduction. I will say there's a lot of times in this game or during the games tonight that I went, wow, I wish I had X reduction versus another. Frequently, I wish I had more yellow reductions to utilize, but I still think Swamp and Cathedral are just better. Cathedral's going to help you get to your cores and just through your deck faster. Rotting Swamp means that your guys that are going in aren't lost cards. You still get them back. Occasionally, you might want to pop back a Shadow Snake back to your hand. I appreciate this Nexus breakdown instead of trying to include Underworld Casino. Not to say that Casino is bad. I appreciate that you can do things like, you know, basically turn Chip into a 1-card removal of just, okay, you know, summon a 2-drop, core strip down to 1, swing with the chip. Whether they block the chip or not, you get to delete something at the end of combat, or the end of that combat. But I just like Rotting Swamp Cathedral a little bit more, honestly. It also helps that Rotting Swamp has 2 purple reductions, means it comes down a lot faster. It comes down a lot faster, and you get your draw engine up a little faster as well. And then, as I said before, the last magics were Balance, Ice Shield, and Double Deadly. Double Deadly kind of sucks because I had a case tonight where I needed exactly like a way to kill through a board, but I didn't have the creature to sacrifice to Double Deadly, unfortunately. But I think it's probably not that bad into this format, with the assumption that people are going to be moving away from Era and Hydra potentially. I don't know if they are. Honestly, kind of read that maybe we still see Era and Hydra. But Double Deadly is still nice because it kind of forces them down to a smaller board state that you can then firmly manage better. I say this as in like, the big problem with this deck, and that's why Taranto's in there, is if your opponent gums up their board, because that means your curse isn't nearly as efficient or as effective. And if they are small enough, then your guys aren't actually dying to trigger Immortal. Well, Double Deadly theoretically does, and what I think kind of works out as, besides being like a 2-for-1 part of the time, because you're just going to regain the value either through core advantage, through Cathedral, through cards. What Double Deadly does that it helps reduce the board down to something more manageable, where your curse is very more potent into their now much weaker board. If they want to risk the attack and, you know, just give you free cores, that's fine. Now they're going to be taking potentially a lot on their turn. There's definitely some cases in this deck where, because your 2-drops are just 1 or free sometimes, you can pivot into an aggro strategy and just start throwing hands. That's how I got the 3rd round game 1, where I just had enough small guys where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna turn things sideways and just kind of hope it works out. And it kind of did. He was trying to fade a Godslaying as Ice Shield, but I said, sure, I'm just gonna keep going in and just using a Deadly Balance to pick apart as like a 1-for-1 sort of play. And then from here, moving into the sideboard, it's almost the same sideboard that I was playing for my Fable Beast deck, mostly because I'll be honest, I don't know how to sideboard that well. I just kind of figured some pieces that'd be good. Exhaust Nexus for hypothetical aggro and all the token stuff. I really should have sideboarded this into the token game I played round 1. I chose not to. I kind of wish I did, because it would have made things a little less hectic. But I still think this is fine just for the aggro, and because you're going to hit enough cores anyway, punish them out of it. Not a lot of like white aggro stuff, really caps out at 4k. at one, maybe outside of like, I think like one of the Valkyries, maybe, for how quickly they try to get things onto the board versus how quickly they're giving you cores to do stuff with. Dream Bombs, mostly for big stuff, mostly for big ascends. Beam Rifle, just to help tap down guys. I'm not really sure about Beam Rifle in this list, honestly. It's weird you want stuff to die in your list because you want to get the value out of Rotting Swamp and out of Cathedral to just get cores, get cards. And Beam Rifle is kind of an antithesis to that. It helps in like very large board states where you just force them to tap out their entire board. Now they're free pickings. But in hindsight, I'm not sure I would play Beam Rifle in a V2 or V3 version of this list. What I am happy I included though is Core Theft, because unfortunately this deck does not have an inherent really good way to get the Immortals into the graveyard outside of just like summoning them, having them crash, having them die, having them do something. Post board, Core Theft helps you get that stuff into the graveyard to then strip away your opponent's stuff. It really helps, especially where it's like, okay, they may have not committed too heavily into cores on something, and then you just get to punish the hell out of them for it. You sometimes have a lot of cards in hand in this deck, sometimes you don't. So Core Theft is a little dicey. There's some hands you'd rather not discard for, but sometimes you just have some stuff that's like, this particular thing needs to die, so I'm just gonna reduce it. And just the removal for one is always insane. Core Theft has always been a pretty solid card regardless. And then finally, the last card in the sideboard is Leaf Wolf. I've been off and on between this and Scope Owl in various lists. I was talking actually with Jacob from Main Deck Masters last night about this list, and I mentioned, oh yeah, I have Scope Owl on the list. We were talking more and I realized, wait a minute, Leaf Wolf is just better for this list than Scope Owl, because Scope Owl is going to cost more that you may not have in reserve. But generally, more importantly, Leaf Wolf is actually going to proc all of these two effects. You're going to get your Freestyle draw, you're going to get the Grim Gambler Immortal. It's just a little bit better in this list than Scope Owl, in my opinion. I don't think you're going to really need or want the Exhausted thing. I could realistically see things coming up like 9 times out of 10, where Leaf Wolf is better than Scope Owl. That 1 out of 10 maybe comes up, but I think Leaf Wolf is probably just fine for this list. It's a flash guy that just comes down, eats a hit, dies, gets to play Immortal for something. And that is the BTO5 Yellow Purple Curse list that I made. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm going to go over to Josh in the Cardboard Kitchen to show you the stuff I won for going 3-0 with this list. But before we dive into that delicious cardboard opening, a quick word from our sponsors. And by sponsors, I mean all of my stuff. First off, if you're interested in getting some fancy art for your Commander Magic deck, but don't want to pay an arm and a leg for an altar, you can use my affiliate link for altersleeves.com. Their wide selection of art can tickle any taste and give you something fresh to flex on your friends with. With that link or my code JMRGameDesign at checkout, you'll save a whole Abraham Lincoln on your order, meaning you get to pretty up your cards for just $1. And second, I have a TCG player store called JMR Gaming. If you follow the link in the description, you'll be taken to my shop where I'm selling a variety of cards across Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Battle Spirits. Purchasing an Ultra Sleeve or buying cards through me is the most direct way to help support the channel and keep this train trucking. But if you don't play Magic or I don't have the cards you're looking for, the next best way is to like the video, comment, subscribe, and share this around with all of your other cardboard varietal playing friends. But with that quick sponsor out of the way, I know what you cardboard fiends are here for. Let's get into that prize opening. Alright, gamers, welcome back to the Cardboard Kitchen, where tonight we are opening the Spoils of Victory. Gigabytes just had their first set 5 locals, and I went in with Yellow Purple Curse 2 combo nonsense. Well, not curse combo, but it was some nonsense. And for winning, we got not only a Skybound Falls box offer, but we got ourselves 6 packs. It was top 4 break, 6 packs of Strange in the Sky, along with a Judge Pack 2024, the Store Tournament Sealed Packs, and there's a winner one in there too. But it's my bag that I just need to find that hopefully did not just like disappear on me out of nowhere, or it could just be lost into something else. Ah, here it is. It's over on the side. Along with some other packs. That's the Sealed Pack Volume 1, these, and the sealed winner pack. So let's get into these openings. I'll probably say in the video, I was very satisfied with how the deck performed, so I'm happy he was able to get some winnings here. So let's crack into this opening. Just the camera. We got Shinobi Harrier, Mesodemon, Golden Lock, Mechaneer Maclear, Flame Disaster, Poseidon Crush, Leafidna, Voiceless Diva, Cheshire Soul, Sacred Wood Research Lab, Silver Goddess Aaron Hood, and Signs of Effort, the Reversal Point Ava card. Didn't play it in my build, but definitely a good card if you wanted to go the full Balls to the Wall 2-cost rush. Magatsu Dragoon, Dark Flytrap Mantis, Clionest, Poison Lizard, Death Accompaniment, very cool removal card, Sea Lord's Maw, Vertical Wind, Spooky Rudy, Surveyor Fang, Ferocious Prison, Clone Artist Gadagiri, and an SPR Goddess Astrina. Very nice. Nice to have seen, we actually got one of the full arts here. But I am looking for some XRs, mostly, so I don't have to keep bumming XRs off of the friends. We got Armorfish. We got Helicivets, Helicopter Civet. Soul Horse, Cond Willow, big vanilla guy. Reversal Point non-Ava. Sea Draco Horse, Wind Pressure, Thunderwall, Surveyor Ryusei, Water Spout, Calamity Magnetar Dragon, and Ferocious Prison as another, well actually not another, but as an anniversary rare. Very cool. Dark Demo Bones! He led me to victory tonight. Very good card. Starburst Dragon, Dark Mage Florar, Jelly, Dark Coffin Cavern, Darkness Aura, Meteorite Golem, Surveyor Pale Naga, Sailor Ant-Man, Surveyor Delaney, Mega Flying Killer, and another XR, Rasal Asclepius, who does stuff with Skyminers? Yeah, Skyminers, not Surveyors. And the Leaf Kindred Token Mecha. Or as I like to say, the Twink with a Jetpack, because I'm sorry, that's what he is. It's just there on the card. 2 more packs here. Let's see if we can end on something hot. Emerald Certified Lemire, Vanillup, Mezu Demon, Kunzaraf, Purple Haze, Aberrant CBC Polyp, The Highest Peak, Steam Powered Factory, Shocking Vegetation, Base Defense Angel Rita, Cat Aether, and another Ava card, the 6th Angel Clonest. Not sure if I would play Cat Aether in my Fable Beast list if I went and made another Fable Beast list, but it's definitely nice to give your stuff Astral. There we go. Alright, Hellish Birthday, Garnatoris, Coralfly, Angel Snipping, Whiteout, Marble Golem, Battle Cancellation, Skybound Falls, Great Sky Shadow, Ferocious Prisons, Shadow Swordfighter Black Leopard, Steam Powered Factory, and that's it. Alright, only one XR. A little shame, but hopefully someone else got a cool thing. I can try to get off them later. So let's crack into the tournament packs. These are all very nice. I'm looking for, specifically, a purple-green guy. Winterfey Budmian, when someone summons a Leaf Kindred and when destroyed, ramps onto a Token Spirit. Very cool. Over here onto the trash pile. The next one. Another one of these Waterbug Beetlegrass. That's my 3rd one so far. Pegasus Angel, Skybinder Angel, has Astral and kills him by 3k. That's not bad, honestly. Oh my god. Another Beetlegrass. Alright. I get it. Oh yeah, sure, we'll take a break. We'll go into the Judge pack and bend our Resignation Angel Cineris. Kind of cool, actually, with the 2-drops to refresh all your 2 costs. And then, like, reduce someone's BP by 10. That could be kind of cool tech in the 2-drop lists nowadays. Back into the tournament 5-packs. Minoctopus. Oh, I was looking at this. This seemed pretty cool. When your opponent uses a magic card from their hand, place a core from the void into your reserve, and then pop with someone 3k. That seems pretty good for the red-blue deck. Yeah, there we go. I was looking for him. Death Sword Fighter Dullabone. I can try this in the list now. Very cool. Let's see if we can find, like, 2 or 3 more in here. Definitely not getting it here, unfortunately. This is Venom Raptor. During your attack step, when the spirit one of your red or purple spirits the soul core attacks, you may select one of your opponent's spirits that cost 7 or fewer. Can't block during this battle. Doesn't duplicate the effect. Alright. Alright, this is the Crestcaster Uwabami no Tsukasa. Level 1 and 2. When one of your spirits has been destroyed this turn, this gets Astral till end of turn. This is pretty nice, honestly. And then the big one, our Winter Pack. It's got the Winter Stamp on it. It's a white card. I'm not looking at it. And it's Killer Machine Half. During other attack step, when your opponent's spirits return to their hand or deck, this gains Astral, and this is Armor White, Green, Blue. That seems interesting with the armor stuff that that white already has, but I can't complain too much. We did get these for free for our killer performance. Not sure where I'm putting this in the video. I'm either sending this back to Josh to finish up the video on the computer, or I'll say here, see you guys next time for some more cardboard-related content, and I'll see you then.
And that was Cardboard Kitchen Josh, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm really not sure how to end this outside of thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share the video, share it to your friends, and show them all this cool list. I'd be curious to see what people decide to brew with this. If they stick with this list, would they find better ratios? And I'm really excited for set 5, honestly. A lot of really cool ideas and strats coming out. I mean, of course, there's some boring stuff like just using green to ramp to Hydra faster, but I'm optimistic for the deck building that we'll start seeing more of in Battle Spirits now that we have double color spirits, especially for this in set 6. So, with all that being said, I'll see you guys next time for more
What even is this? Deck techs? Yeah, sure. We'll see you next time for some more deck techs on Battle Spirits. Imagine all of your other favorite card games. Until next time, have a good one.